All right, good evening is great matter. So we have an interesting topic that I think we should discuss. Coming from Alba and Preach on another YouTuber, Just Pearly Things, who is the red pill queen apparently. I haven't really looked deep into her content, so I don't know too much about what it is that she speaks about, but the person reviewing this is Night Talk. You should check out their videos whenever you get a chance. But I'm in the middle of watching this and I feel I need to bring my 2 cents into this.
Hating for clicks. You know what I'm saying? But this is gonna get clicks because it's Pearl. And she popping. So let's go.
If this was Pearl's world, I'd get rid of birth control. I'd ban it, but that'll never happen. I think that's the root of all evil. And I'd actually go for the root of all evil.
The root of all evil. That's what she said. Okay, my girl.
Say it. I don't.
Look, what she was talking about, cause I watched some of this video, not all of it.
Women should know.
I'll let her finish.
I thought she was being sarcastic.
Yeah, she also said she doesn't think women should vote.
Truth to it because of how birth control has fucked women up in the head, and the whole voting thing about how, like, you know, voting gives women responsibility without accountability, some shit like that, right? Like they can vote, but they ain't gotta go to war or whatever. Like she's bringing it up because of that, but I think that still has some like sarcastic undertones to it. I don't think she literally meant it that way. That's just my 2 cents. But let's see what the fuck they got to say.
But Jesus, keep on going.
Yeah,
no women, you can't vote. No birth control. Keep it going.
Yeah, no, because it's always freedom without responsibility.
Yeah,
I
so
love
like
it.
the
Women
reason
should not
no,
vote.
but,
Pearly
but
said it herself.
I'll tell you why though. I'll tell you why. Because it's freedom without responsibility.
I love
and before women, like like I believe in consequences for your decision. So the men know if they vote someone batshit crazy into power, you guys get drafted. We don't. Women decide elections. We're 55% of the population. I think if we want to vote, equally draft us. Y'all want equality. And personally, I don't want to get drafted, so I'll be in the kitchen.
Wait, hold on. I thought she was crazy. I think she has a point.
Go ahead.
She's talking about equality.
Sure.
That's just what the birth control thing. Hey, yo. But I understand.
No, I get where she's coming from about women not having accountability for their actions. The point of birth control, which is why it was created in the first place, was to prevent pregnancy. See how birth control is being abused. We wouldn't be having all this hot girl summer shit and women just sleeping around willy-nilly, you know, or people just sleeping around willy-nilly if the chances of having a child were higher. It is freedom without responsibility. That's exactly what she was talking about. And hell, they're going to later start talking about abortion. We'll get into that too.
From with the drafting thing.
Well, I mean, they don't understand birth control fucked women up. No, but my bad. This is for them. This is for them.
Hey, yo. But I understand where she's coming from with the drafting thing.
2 hours later.
No, it's not because they don't. It's not because they vote and they don't get drafted that they don't suffer the consequences of not being what. Nah. So yeah, no, I got nothing. I really tried.
Why don't you just say women should get drafted? This whole idea of like you shouldn't get voted until you get drafted.
No.
First off, when's the last time a draft happened? Been what, 30, 40, 50 years?
I mean, it doesn't matter. Your name's still on the list. I was forced to put my name on that list. If I didn't do that, I would not have been allowed to go to college. They literally hang that shit over your head.
2, you act like when people get elected to be politicians, they don't enact laws that negatively impact strictly women. What, do you think a birth control ban wouldn't affect women primarily?
No, it's just men.
What do you think an abortion ban doesn't affect women primarily?
Okay, so now this discussion on abortion, which once again, this is about consequences for your actions. I was looking into some statistics about abortion, and we'll get into, because if we're talking about a law that's been passed for abortion, the only one I could think of is Roe v. Wade being overturned, and that was done by the Supreme Court. And the person who elects Supreme Court officials is the president, okay? And they're voted on by the Senate and by the House. You can say that the people voted them in. I mean, there's deeper shit dealing with, you know, how elections work and what could be going on behind the scenes. I'm not going to get into details because the last time I did, I got a strike on my YouTube channel. Whatever. But yeah, if women are the primary voters because it's 50% of the women are voting, that would mean that they have elected these people that don't want abortion. That's what that means. It means that there are women who are against abortion. Now, Florida, the state of Florida, did a record. This is in the year 2020. Okay, 74,868 abortions. So here's the percentage. And my argument is that women use abortion like birth control. They do it primarily out of convenience. Things like the woman was raped, that's 0.15%. Pregnancy resulted in incestuous relationship, which once again, the result of her actions, not because of something like being raped or the life was endangered, which is 0.2%, 0.15%, a very small percentage. Okay. You know, serious fatal abnormality. Once again, these three still in a low percentage. Okay. Still in a low percentage. Okay. The woman aborted for social or economic reasons or no reason, elective, 74.9%, 20.4%. So take all of these and add these up right here. It still is eclipsed by the bottom two reasons right here. Economic reasons, no reason at all, nothing specified. Okay, and a lot of the other, you know, reasonings, not ready for a child, can't afford a baby, you know, done having children, don't want to be a single mother, not mature enough to raise a child. These are reasons that have been listed. These are reasons that are still being stated today. When all this woman had to do was not open her leg. So she was cool with having the sex, but when responsibility hit, the woman did not want to have the baby, so she decided to kill the child. Now, birth control would be great for this situation, but at the same time, why are people just having sex for the sake of having sex? You're not picking partners. You're not, you know, focusing on getting married. You know, you're not thinking about none of this shit. You're just going out and just fornicating for the fuck of it. Get what I mean? That's the issue that's going on. And this is what Pearl was talking about. You know, actions without consequences.
Right? There are plenty of laws that a crazy batshit politician come in and enact that would primarily
Not actions without consequences. Sorry, freedom without responsibility, because there's still consequences. And like, even on the topic of rape, because every time I bring up abortion, someone always has to throw rape in my face. And I've always asked a question, so are we going to punish the child for the sins of the father? Okay. Now, you can say, well, just kill the baby, be done with it. But abortion itself also has, you know, mental trauma and physical trauma on the woman. That's also a thing that no one talks about. So either way, it's just a tragic situation. It's a fucked up situation regardless. Okay. I mean, birth control could help out in that situation as well. If there's no baby being born, you wouldn't have to worry about a child being brought into the situation. But even with that being said, it's still fucked up to deal with. But once again, that's a small percentage of a majority of the reason for all of these, you know, abortions and shit. Is just convenience. You are conveniently having sex for your own pleasure, and you are conveniently getting rid of the child.
like women, but you just pulled up drafts, which is like something that rarely, if ever, happens, and then you're just using that to say they should lose their right to vote. And the birth control thing was so crazy to me. It's like,
well, I get that.
I mean, I don't get the whole losing the right to vote. That I don't agree with. I can say I don't agree with that one. All right. I mean, unless you want to argue that women are the reason why there are politicians in office now that are against abortion, because that's the one thing that some of these women love to fight for, is their right to murder their child. Yes, I said it is murder, okay? Because majority of them are not, you know, you don't have any health risk to you, nor did you experience a traumatic event. You just was out having sex. Like, that's it.
I'm too informed on Pearl's content, so I know where that comes from, right? Because she talks about like the birth of feminism. One of the causes for it is that, you know, women wanted to vote, but they didn't want to go to war. So that's why she constantly brings that up. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
What
came with the whole feminism thing was also sexual liberation. I know I keep bringing this up, but this is the one thing that we need that, you know, I'm tired of all the misconceptions and shit about this. We always throw around the term women's rights without thinking about the consequences of all this shit. Nah, I'm trying to figure out more about the whole voting
thing. A draft in a minute, but hey, by the looks of the fucking present climate of society, draft may not be too fucking far away, bro. Because, you know, shit is going on right now.
Fabricated wars.
And, I wonder, you know, how that would impact women if they knew that they were going to get drafted.
Argument for the birth control, I guess, is because of birth control, women can now be more selective, and so it's worse for society. So they want to remove your ability to choose. And here's a problem.
More selective. Yeah, you're forced to be more selective because you have to pick the right person who you know will actually be a good father and raise your child. You know, you get rid of abortion.
Okay. This girl's a really popular red.
You have to choose who you allow to open your legs. You can't just go out and just get it.
Creator. And people sent me this link because the dude in the interview was acting retarded. And to be fair, in the interview, she was making a lot more sense than that guy was, okay? But I stopped at this part, and I had to cringe so incredibly fucking hard. Because I don't think people realize how crazy red pill folks sound when they say stuff like this and how easily discredits them. I think people should bring back slavery, because, like, what? I think women should lose the right to vote. And I think also they should lose the right to... Some of the biggest invention that brought us slavery to this current age right now, people want to just get rid of. Because, what? A lot of these folks enter this red pill space and they'll say like, oh, we're not misogynist, we're not anti-women, we're not anti-women. You should lose your right to vote. And you should lose your ability to have contraceptives. What?
I see, he's out of context.
He said it is out of context.
I mean, she did say that. She did say that, bro. But I can't. It needs more context, bro. It needs more context. I mean, it is crazy to take birth control entirely off the table because, you know, birth control is needed. I mean, it's not needed. It was needed back then.
I mean, birth control is useful, given our current society. You know, our current climate in society. People don't want responsibility. They just need, you know, they need pleasure more than anything. Like, I mean, hell, I'm a virgin. All right, I've been offered on numerous occasions. I've said this in previous videos. You don't have to just go out having sex. It's okay to wait. There's nothing wrong with waiting.
You know what I'm saying? Giving women the option is a plus, but there's been so much damage to society that has happened.
Yeah.
Due to birth control. That's why she brings that up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I understand watching her say that shit entirely out of context can look crazy. Birth control has literally fucked women up mentally.
Yeah, I'm not going to go into the whole hormonal issues dealing with birth control. That's a whole nother fucking discussion.
You know what I'm saying? Have all the sex and not be held accountable or judged. You know what I'm saying?
The slut walk.
You see how women are moving right now. You know what I'm saying? Slut walk.
Yep.
All this shit, bro.
Amber Rose, 21 Savage. You know what I'm talking about.
Into all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's reasons for why she said it. You know what I'm saying? But to take it entirely off the table is, you know. But once again, I understand the attack on birth control because that has damaged women severely. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to like sex, I'm not talking about like, you know, periods and, you know, when you take it to actually like assist with your health, but just to, you know, be out here throwing the pussy all over the place and how that fucks women up, that came from birth control. Because without birth control, you couldn't do it.
You cannot hold on to the moniker that you guys are not misogynist, that you guys are not anti-women, and then take away some of the most basic fundamental rights to people who not only pay taxes, who not only participate in society as full-fledged adults and have to finance things, you know, like, listen, whether you like it or not, women are paying their taxes, women are involved in politics, women are helping to make these decisions, they're in managerial positions. It's not like...
I mean, I'm not saying women are not supposed to vote, but I actually kind of see where her reasoning comes from. The reasoning being that a lot of women think primarily emotionally and not logically. You know, it also comes from the thought or the concept of women being in leadership, you know. Do you expect them to lead with logic? Do you expect them to lead objectively, or are they going to lead subjectively and through emotion? Like, these are decisions being made over a great majority of people. It's not just a singular decision that affects one person. That's where she's coming from as well. Had to explain it. Now, if you want equality, women should be allowed to vote. But you take that right away, that means they're not equal anymore. Which, that alone brings up a whole entirely different discussion. Like, it is deeper than just face value statements. You really have to go into this. This could be a dialogue for hours.
And also 51% of the planet.
Okay, so you sit there, you say, we're not misogynists, but people who contribute a lot to society shouldn't have the right to vote is crazy. Because I imagine, if you're really looking at it like, well, they don't contribute as much as a man. There's plenty of groups who don't contribute as much as others. Should they lose their right to participate in democracy?
I can even add, I can add on in addition to that, you know what I'm saying? Women do contribute a lot because they spend the most money on every fucking thing. If you take them away, it's going to severely impact the economy. You know what I'm saying? But I've never agreed with her taking the women vote away. I understand where that come from. Like I said before, she's always talked about the origin of feminism and how there was women out here who didn't want to vote because they didn't want to go to war. And that's just to highlight an issue that a lot of women have today, where women want to do all these things without the responsibility. And that's like a ongoing theme a lot of the times with women. They're allowed to do a bunch of things.
Yeah, they want the power without the responsibility.
For the consequences of them. You know what I'm saying? Like,
they don't want consequences.
Birth control,
and you see a lot of that with the quote unquote modern day woman. You see a lot of that. Just like, oh shit. You know what? I don't need to go further into it. Just let them continue.
When you're a slut, chances are you can have a fucking baby. Can't be a slut no more. I mean, you still can, but we're having a epidemic mentally with women, the modern women, and you know what I'm saying? They've been beat down by feminism, birth control, abortions, all these things, bro. I know there's gonna be a lot of pushback on that, man, but this
look, man, they do things and don't accept responsibility for the consequences, and then turn around and blame the man for it. I was trying not to, but I'm gonna piss people off. Whatever. This video is going to piss a lot of fucking people off, but it is what it is. They blame men for their own stupid actions. This ain't all women, but the modern woman, what we're describing, a percentage of women, they do this shit. And these are also the ones who are contributing to society. Let that sink in.
Be like a dope debate session, you know what I'm saying, with what he's talking about, bro. And I don't know, maybe it is just Pearl's.
And no, I'm not saying that they don't deserve the right to vote. Before people take that clip and try to use that to come at me sideways. They do deserve their right to vote, but they also need to take into account the consequences of who they're picking. Hell, people just in general not knowing the consequences of their actions are the reason why we're in the recession that we're in now. Now, there's also other things that played a part in it, because let's be real, Joe Biden did not get 80 million. He didn't. The math don't even add up. But there still were some people who did what they did because they hated Trump. Let's just be real here. And that's just one example I'm throwing out dealing with, you know, politics and voting. You know, it's fucked up. That was men and women.
No intention to take all that shit off the table. That, I think that's crazy. You shouldn't take it off the table. But all she's saying is there's consequences for every action, right? And due to birth control or the fact that women can do whatever they fucking want without the responsibility, that's having substantial effects on society now, you know what I'm saying? And it's going to continue to do so. And some of those sources, some of the reasons for that is what Just Pearl has identified, you know what I'm saying, throughout her, you know, podcast and shit, man. So I can take shit from both sides, man. I don't think she's totally wrong. I don't think that. And then at the same time, I don't know the true intention behind what Just Pearl does. You know what I'm saying? I'd imagine she has, you know, men's situations at heart. Like she empathizes and wants to be a voice for men. You know what I'm saying? But she could be out here just throwing shit around, trying to goddamn go viral and shit and saying crazy shit. But
I don't know. She was laughing when she said what she said. She probably wasn't even being serious, but
I'm rambling.
Whatever. I mean, watching that fucking interview, you look at the other dude and how fucking all over the place the other guy was. I mean, Chisa said, if I pronounce his name right, is another channel who I watched and, you know, reacted to in the past. He reviewed it. If you check out his content, The Coffee Pot.
Strike me as crazy because I understand the context of it all.
Poor people.
Only rich people should vote.
Because they pay the most amount of taxes. Is that how it should be? Huh?
That makes sense. Old folks.
I mean, if you really want to go into it, no, that's another discussion.
Kids, because if you can, you know, if you're like 12, you can hold a rifle. I mean, you haven't contributed to society yet. You could make that case.
Oh.
You don't vote, you go to war, and the rest fund. Yeah, I mean, it's not that bad. Think about it. I think it makes sense. There you go.
It's just, this is the kind of stuff that you will see that will come and discredit the red pill folks. And I'm saying this as like, forget me. Let's say a news person pulls up a media hit piece, okay, on red pill folks. They're gonna play this clip.
This was Pearl's world. I'd get rid of birth control. I'd ban it. I think that's the root of all evil. I don't think women should vote.
And their audience is gonna know that red pill popular people are saying dumb shit like this, and it's gonna discredit everything. This is not.
Yeah, to use a clip. Watch the entire conversation. It's like an hour long.
Yeah, but they can do that with anybody, though.
Yeah, they do that with everybody.
They can do that with Preach. Take shit out of context. You know what I'm saying? Even though that wasn't really taken out of context, man. But that's a big problem we have in this world where they fucking take little sections of what people say, pump it up to you know, characterize them, to showcase them in a certain light, which they may not be. But I could use that argument with anybody out here, right? You use that, definitely use that shit with me. You know what I'm saying? You just snip some shit that I fucking said to make me look nuts. But, you know,
wacky take like, oh, you know, like, I feel like women should earn more than men, or men should earn more than women. It's not that. You should lose your ability to vote. Now, you may not care about voting, but understand it is one of the most fundamental freedoms that we have in the free world, okay? You may not care for it, but it is one of the most important. It's akin to telling people you should lose free speech because you're a woman. That's how crazy it is. And if you don't understand how unhinged this messaging is, I don't think people are really listening to what it means to the average person. It's interesting because I'll say,
I think to understand her message, you have to watch her content to its fullest. That's where I stand. I don't believe it's all unhinged. I think there's something deeper to it. Anyway, it's just a reaction video. I mean, there's another vid that I came across I also want to bring up. Completely off topic from the whole red pill thing. This right here.
Little League World Series player's head was covered in cotton.
This is a black child surrounded by white children trying to put cotton on the child's head.
Unconscious bias, systemic racism, whatever you want to call it.
This can be disproven by just showing this image of the black kid and this other white kid posing together with the white mohawk on his head. What was actually going on in this moment was appreciation of another player who actually wore a white mohawk, a picture that these kids were a fan of. And the first thing that happened was this white kid had the white mohawk made so that he could honor this player, and then the black kid wanted to participate in that, so he had them put on the mohawk for him.
Black player didn't appear to be laughing about it.
This is what racism looks like.
Little League World.
Okay, so we could talk about how the news has been lying to you forever. All right. That's why I stopped watching the news. They don't ever objectively speak any fact. They just come up with a headpiece and pump that shit into your mind and have you thinking all kinds of crazy. That's why you support the politicians you support and come against the politicians you come against. If you're brainwashed. Other people who don't, you know, follow the news that much aren't being, you know, they're not being, you know, swayed by this deception. Because that's all the news is. And now we could also talk about the whole racism shit. Everyone swears up and down America's all so racist. It's this, is that, and the third. But a lot of shit that y'all get your information from, it comes from news sources like this. Now, this is the Young Turks. It doesn't fucking matter. Why in the hell are, you know, newscasts and all this bullshit, these people online, so on and so forth, constantly pumping this bullshit into the minds of other people? Shit like this is why folk be hating white folk. Shit like this. Just saying. Because nowadays it's hit pieces against the white man. Back then it was hit pieces against the black man. News about the black man. The black man's this, the black man's that. Now it's the white folk. Now it's their turn, right? Something as simple as honoring a baseball player became racist. Those are the two things I want to discuss. All right, I'm fucking done.